Oh, goody, look at all the toys for me.
Okay, we are looking at cages again right now because one of the things that I get questioned on all the time is horizontal bars in cages. And the cages that have horizontal bars all the way up are cages that cause birds to sit on the wall and frequently poop outside the cage. But I wanted you to notice in any cage there are horizontal bars. They have to have horizontal bars to keep the vertical bars in position. I think they look much better. And that's why I really don't get excited about having all horizontal bars. There's always some, and birds manage very well to get around in a cage, regardless of whether all the bars are horizontal or not. I was hoping the little cockatiel would climb up for you to see how well he does. He's perfectly able to climb up on those bars, and so is the parakeet. Well, we'll put 1 foot, but I don't know whether he'll go any further. In the cage that he's sitting on right now is a perch that is a little narrow for a cockatiel. It's perfectly fine for the parakeet. Ideally, the bird's foot should go 2/3 of the way around the perch. Let's see if our little cockatiel will cooperate here. I know you want to sit on my shoulder and be comfortable, but let's do a demonstration. This would be a lovely size for the foot of a cockatiel. The foot goes 2/3 of the way around the perch. Having said that, I hate these perches. I would be much happier if you would use a dowel that is irregular, or a natural branch, or a tree branch from outside. There is no reason in the world why you can't have a variety of perches in your cage so that the bird isn't sitting on the same thing all the time. And no, it doesn't have to be perfectly horizontal. Most tree branches are not. So if you want to have it on an angle, that's fine. And in most cases, you will find that oh, come on, I know my hand is more comfortable, that if you have it on an angle, the bird will spend most of its time at the higher point in the cage, because they always like to be up higher. Little bird, you're awfully friendly, but let's pop you back in so that maybe we can talk about perches a little more effectively. This perch would be ideal for a Senegal parrot or any of the smaller parrots. You may notice that it does get chewed, and that's perfectly okay. Birds have a beak that needs to be chewing something, and you will be replacing perches in many cases. A tiny perch for a finch cage, a big perch for a parrot cage. But I want lots of variety. So I brought some perches to show you. This is a manzanita perch, and you may notice that this has been scraped. Manzanita is sort of slippery, and so if you have manzanita, go ahead and take a file and just file it off, and it will be much more comfortable for the bird. The cholla wood is another choice. It has lots of space in it, and it's easy for the bird to hold on to. But in fact, I don't particularly like cholla wood because I can't get it clean in the middle. These rope perches are another choice, and they're perfectly lovely initially, but eventually the birds end up with their toenails snagging in the threads. So trim those threads if there's an issue. A better choice is the Cecil perches, which not only are not going to tangle the bird's toes, they also give them something to play with. In fact, the canary breeders used to give birds a broom to chew on. And then you have some fancy things like this little homemade swing, which is an excellent choice in a cage, and because your swings hang up high, in many cases that's where the birds spend the night. They'll always go to the highest perch. I don't have all these perches in the cage because I don't want my cage overcrowded. This cage does just fine with 1 perch in it, and the birds are able to get around in the cage, and they don't feel overcrowded by being in this tight an environment. They love toys. Any member of the parrot family should have toys offered. And some of the toys are going to be big and lovely, and you're going to want to have a big cage for them. So that if I were to put this toy in the cage, first of all, it's pretty big, and secondly, I'm not sure the birds are going to be comfortable with that big a toy in the cage. On the other hand, if I were to have a toy that was just one of these parts, that would be lovely for both birds. They would chew on it, they would play with it, and they would have a good time with it. I frequently send home 10 or 12 toys with one customer. Those are smart customers. They're putting the toys in one at a time. And when they put one in, they take another out. There really should not be more than 3 toys at a time in your cage. Have a bird that chews everything? How about an industrial bell? There's a bell inside this heavy-duty plastic case, and so the bird can ring it, but it's not going to be able to get into it and pull the clapper out. And that's the first thing some of your big birds will do. Even a cockatiel is perfectly happy to take the clapper out of a toy. So keep your cage reasonable for the bird. We get a lot of questions about food and how to get birds to eat different food. I took the cup out. I would put the food that I don't particularly want to encourage the bird to eat, particularly a parrot that has sunflower-only diet, and I put it down on the floor, not where the bird poops, but rather in a corner where he isn't going to be going routinely. And I put it down on the floor, and he'll go down and get it if he wants to, but in this upper cup, I will put kale, I'll put some spaghetti maybe, I'll put all sorts of things that I want to encourage him to eat. A little bit of chicken, no problem. With a nice, spacious cage, and bigger is always better, and with a cage that's designed for perches and toys, your bird should live a long and happy life with you. Thank you for visiting.